Here we go again, live on the twitch.tv/the Xisuma. One day I'm going to have to say live on the YouTube, the twitch.tv, the youtube.com/the xisumavoid. Oh god. Oh god, it won't roll off the tongue the same way, will it? Welcome to the peeps tuning in chat: Cordishi, Zyghost, Curls of Doom, Bear818, Banian, Fenrir. Appreciate y'all coming by. It is the middle of the day on a Thursday. Why am I streaming now? Well, my plan was to stream yesterday evening, but Twitch be twitchy. They had some outage, and here we are flying across the Hermitcraft server in the middle of the day. I'm the only one on, and we're going to go to my base and work over there. But not being able to stream threw my plans off for the evening, and that little bit of free time just kind of steered me into some inspiration, which was really cool. Something that we'll talk about later today in this stream, and is actually related to the music we're listening to right now, which is Jalur, some beautiful Dungeon Synth music, which we hadn't listened to in a while. I was just looking at my other options on my list. I was like, yeah, that one kind of fell out of rotation. Oh, this is interesting. You see, I have a mod oh my goodness me. Okay. Wow, that's so bad. It's very peculiar how frame rates change in this area, because I put on a mod that Doc suggested, and I was facing this way when I came through here, and it was like a solid 30 FPS. Now, I do believe I know what causes this issue. Anyway, more peeps are tuning in. Black Chanda says Hermitcraft be the best. I'm glad you think so. Curl says, is it particles? That is actually what I'm going to go look at. So, where are we going? Mod menu. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. I tell you what, let's do this when we've got better frames. Bear818, thank you so much for your 13 months of support. Greatly appreciated. Also, I was musing on the idea of streaming on YouTube because I plan to do a live stream on YouTube at some point. And with yesterday Twitch being down, that would have been maybe a good opportunity to do so. So we have, I think this mod might be a bit redundant. There's several mods that do culling, right? And Doc gave us this, I think it's this one, more culling, and it appears to do like a lot of stuff, and that seemed to make a good difference to the frames. But then, if we go into sodium, specifically, I don't think it's listed here, but Reese's sodium options. Yeah, okay. Is that actually working? Maybe that's why we've got an issue at the moment. See, you have to update to a new version of Minecraft, and then you notice that something's off eventually. This is what I dislike about doing a live stream, is when I need to like jump out of Minecraft and look at something, and I'm like, are you just staring at my face? My Doom guy face. So the mod that's missing is Reese's sodium. I'm not seeing the options. If I can download one for 1.19.2, which I can. Okay, let's download that, and then I'm going to quickly find out if it's the same one that's in my mod folder. Okay, so I have this build number, which looks to be the same. It is the same build 59. So that one doesn't appear. Okay. I think I'm making a mistake here. Oh, there's just so many things to remember in life. Give me a break. I think it's actually not in the mod menu. It's when you go here that you get. Yeah, okay. So it was all good. So something here I think changed. Most of these look normal. See, look, entity culling is already on there. Now, when we go into one of these options, maybe it's on more culling. This looks the same as that other stuff, right? LOD range. This is the same as the other mods that Doc gave us. So it feels like these things might be overlapping. Okay, here's where we should be able to sort out our issue. What's it called again, the biome? Basalt deltas? Is there one of these? Look, one of these is not unselected, so... Oh, what is it called in here? It's called something. maybe I'm in the wrong bit, but I'm just reading through these quickly and it's not popping out. Is it in details? It's yeah, something in this list is supposed to be unchecked and the update has checked it again. Ash, says Ruben. I mean, you're guessing, but quite a few of you are saying Ash, actually. Well, I guess we'll start there. Apply. Frames feel a little bit better. No more particles. So it was called Ash. No, Ash is not it. Y'all are guessing. You know, let someone who knows what it is speak up in chat. That's one of my things about asking chat, is that a lot of people then guess. White Ash, says Curls. I can actually see the particle effect going on there. And it just disappeared. So it was White Ash? I seem to remember it being named after the Basalt Deltas, but maybe they changed that. So now our frame rate is... yeah, much more stable in here, but it does look like that mod that Doc said we should add is actually just doing the same thing Sodium is doing. See, look, LOD. These were all things listed a moment ago in the other mod. Notice how this is grayed out? Probably because another mod is already doing that. Yeah, quit and discard. I don't know, maybe I'll just remove that mod at some point. Seems like they're overlapping. What a great start to today's stream. Just looking at menus and interfaces. You know it's going to be a good one. 15 Fine, thank you for 13 months. And Bandulinu, thank you for 3 months. It's not Wednesday or evening. This is absurd. Oh, I didn't update the notification because the stream title could just be the same. So I was like, oh, no need to update anything, but I forgot there was that. What's that? Because, yeah, there's like... okay, that's been replaced. Thou shalt not mine diamonds. In my head, I don't know why, in my head I was thinking that means thou shalt not, like, use diamonds? As in, at places like this. Wait, Royal Emeralds not accepted? But who made this shop? Isn't this Ren's own shop? And he doesn't accept the gigapies, the diamonds. That might just be a thumbnail. I don't know. Right, off we go. In this stream, we are potentially going to finish our tunnel here, which is not terribly interesting, but that's fine. We will work on our storage system. Because it's been like this for a while now, we open up our schematics menu. We will, no, QR code, no, skull, mud farm. Which one is it? Probably that one. Dang, I've done a few things. A few things since getting ready for this. The other thing we need is to move it up to us for a minute. Yes, so now we can see where we're working. So over here is basically going to be my little entrance in and out for now, I think. Collect all those blocks back up. That Christopher is here. For 80, yes. You heard me right. 80 months in a row. Oh my, in a row. Actually in a row as well as total. Incredible. I raise my tea and drink to 80 months. Can we get a special Shishwambam icon for 100? I really enjoy your latest venture into more podcast-esque videos. I raise my tea and drink to 80 months. Can we... Wait, it just says the same message twice? Wow, I don't know what happened there. Twitch be twitchy. Yeah, I will have to do something special. It's always at the back of my mind because it feels like 20 months away, you know, not a priority. But I will come up with something for the 100. I mean, what I might do is move Evil X to 100 and change things, but I don't know, like, being a creative, having a channel, there's all these different priorities and things that you can do with your time. Like, do you put it into content? Do you put it into things around your channel? And what I've been trying to do as of late is get help with all of that, put together a team so I can be a little more focused on the stuff that really interests me and a little less distracted by all of these other administrative types of things that you have to do along the way. And so overhauling the channel, getting those sort of little graphics put together for things like that, it's all stuff I really want to do, but it's just like when and how. But I'm hoping that changes in the future. Also, the Podcast X videos, I'm glad you're liking that. I'm really enjoying making those videos. You know, this comes with its ups and downs being a YouTuber. And by ups and downs, I'm mainly speaking to, you know, creativity and the things that entails. You know, creativity is kind of like a muscle. You know, you can flex it, but it can get worn out. And inspiration is a factor there too. Let's go into this. So doing those videos have been very refreshing for me and reminding me of various aspects that I really love about video making. Because it was never my ambition to become a video maker, if I were to call myself that. It was always to do music. Which would be a good link through into my next topic, but I'm going to have a waffle about what we're going to talk about. I need to get a little more ahead of myself, because I've got a little talky topic lined up for today. Wait, I need 300 of these. Goodness me. So 256 is 4 stacks, and then that'll just send you over the top, so 6 will be good. I think we should grab some shulker boxes while we're doing this. Are you going into music again? I loved your music, says Banyan. I've made a promise to myself that something will change in the future, and I don't know when that will come, but it will come. It will happen, and when that change arrives, I will be able to put time into music again. And last night I was just hit by some absolute inspiration for music. One of the reasons that we're listening to Jalur right now is because of that. So being hit with that inspiration just kind of reminded me, like, I'm gonna transition. You know, I'm working on building out a team around me to help me, you know, succeed at doing YouTube and free up some of my time so that I can start to, you know, do these things that I keep banging on about, like the music, you know. So we got some gifted subs here from Xulili. I mean, I'm probably getting that wrong, but thank you so much. Played Heart, Merzipan, Kdads, Lindsay, NMW Gaming. Be sure to say thanks in the chat for the wonderful gifted subs. Appreciate you, my dude. Thank you for doing that. Anian says, oh my god, I'm so excited, X. Please, I'm begging you. I'd love to hear more of your music. Yeah, let me make a note. Something I was supposed to mention to someone about that. Okay, so we're building up a list of post-stream notes now. Yeah, there is something related to my music that kind of hit me the other day. Well, actually, there was something I was trying to do with my music a long time ago, and that thing fell apart, and I haven't picked it back up again. And I can pick it back up again with the help of others. So there was something that I needed to communicate that I had yet not. Right, what do we make chests out of? It's these woods over here because we have them in the redonkulous quantities, right? What music do you make, Xisuma, says X Pulsion? Well, I'll make whatever music kind of comes to me. I'm very interested in lots of styles, and I get inspired from all different, you know, things. And I've got these like little roadmaps in my head of like, I think like genre mashing is a bit of a blunt expression, but certainly I hear things in like one style of music that I feel like could have an interesting overlap with something from another. And there's like all these little places and avenues I could go explore, but time is always the thing, right? It's always like, gotta make the next video. And what I want to do is change how I approach video making in the future. So yes, let's grab another bunch of these, make some more chests. I guess now is just a perfect time to link through into where all this inspiration is coming from. But before, today's live stream is sponsored by me! Okay, that was like a weird joke. I was going to say it was sponsored by this cup of coffee, but then like that didn't really make any sense. Thanks to me for making this stream possible, because it definitely couldn't have happened without my support and my presence here doing the live stream. That is so true. That is so true. Do you play instruments other than guitar? Yeah, I got a drum kit, a guitar, several guitars, and a keyboard. And sampling is also an instrument. Oh god, that's some good coffee. I'm drinking some decaf. Isn't the stream sponsored by us, Talbot? You're absolutely right! Today's live stream is sponsored by all the amazing subscribers here. Appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who's tuning in and can't subscribe. I'm glad you're coming along and joining us as we hang out together. It is always a pleasure to do a live stream. Okay, so I probably will need chests at some point, but now we've got enough hoppers for this beast. Now we need La Redstone Torch. That's right, La. Because that just randomly popped into my head. I hope we don't run out of redstone. I don't think that's going to happen, actually. So yes, I have been in an inspired state, which I cannot follow up on. I do not have the time. I have other commitments and things that I am doing currently that stop me from just firing up the music space and jumping into it. But it started with a video, and I came across it because Erang, or Erung, or I hear people pronounce it differently now, created a sample pack, and I was like, oh, I'm going to download that, and one day I'll mess around with it and have some fun. So I do that, and I stumble into a link to a Dungeon Synth documentary. And I love Dungeon Synth, and I was so stoked that someone had put together like a proper documentary. It's like 45 minutes. Goes into the pre-Dungeon Synth era. It focuses on the coining of the term Dungeon Synth, and then it goes into some post-Dungeon Synth stuff as well. And I had a little feeling, I wouldn't call it sadness. It's definitely not sadness. But just this feeling of like wondering what if. Like often when you wonder, oh, if only and what if, it tends to be sad. But in this case it wasn't, because the alternative to the what if is all of this, right? All these videos, live streams, all this fun we have together. That is what has happened instead of this other thing. But watching that documentary just really brought back the excitement of Dungeon Synth when I was first discovering it, which was right as that term was being coined. So I was one of these people that were exposed to the music before it had its name. And if you're like, what's Dungeon Synth? You're listening to it right now. Jeez, you're literally listening to some good old Dungeon Synth. I would say more the melodic sort of more positive vibes kind of side. A lot of Dungeon Synth can be like moody and dark as well, which this music is, but it's just got more of a positive spirit about it, whereas some of the stuff can be rather, I don't know, dark and esoteric and whatnot. Right, let's make these repeaters then. And find out what Carl says, X is old. Back in the day, the genre wasn't even named that. Yeah, well, it didn't have a name, right? Like, and a lot of music starts out with not having a name. Like, thrash metal didn't have a name. I think when Metallica put out their first record, Kill 'Em All, which for a moment in time was probably the most extreme record of music on the planet, I think it was just called speed metal, and thrash hadn't emerged yet. But I could be mistaken. Right, now we need a bunch of droppers. Let's make 2 stacks of those. So I had this moment of just feeling like I could have been a part of that. Like, it was quite a possibility, and it's not anything big. You know, Dungeon Synth is not a big thing in the world. It is a niche micro-genre, and being a part of that is not about notoriety or anything of the sort. It's really just about, you know, being a part of a community, being a part of an adventure, something that's happening, and it's close to my heart because it's music. So I wouldn't call how I felt like sad or anything, because, you know, what had happened in place of that has been fascinating and interesting. Everything we do here has just been like a wonderful journey, so I could never be sad about it. But music is like my my thing, right? It's very dear to me. And so right as the term Dungeon Synth was coined, Lord Leviticus was the artist in that video referred to as being the sort of focal point of that, which is interesting because I was, you know, not only listening to Lord Leviticus, I was talking to Lord as well, using their music in my videos, etc, etc, right? And then the second person that they sort of focused on after Lord Leviticus was Orang. Again, another musician who, early days of Hermitcraft, reached out to me, do you want to use my music? It's Dungeon Synth. I was like, oh, I love this stuff. Like, this Lord Leviticus thing is great. So, I've been in touch with those two, and that they've sort of been like the two big figures right at the beginning of Dungeon Synth taking its name, taking its form. And do you know what I did right around then? Of course, I was making music as well as videos. I made my own little bit of Dungeon Synth. Now, I'm not going to say it's anything great. It was just a great experience for me to create that record. It's now on Spotify. It's on Bandcamp. If you so happen to be into the sort of music we're listening to right now, you can go to linktree.xisumavoid.co and find a link to it there, because whenever I talk about other stuff I do and links, we've made that one place for everything. So if you happen to be interested in the spooky dooky music, that's the place to go hear my take on it. So, you know, my plan with Soulside Eclipse was always to do like symphonic black metal / metal, like less extreme, more melodic, a lot of metal guitar and synth melding together, pianos, that kind of thing. And they were always going to be like the main stems. There was going to be, you know, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. They were just going to be like that, because that was the main thing that I wanted to create. Like, when I think about how I came up with the name, everything that I was listening to at the time was like symphonic black metal. That was like a real big thing for me when I was young. And so those were going to be the main chapters. And then anything else I wanted to do, I could just do under the same name, but the main style was just reserved for those chapters. That was my plan. And my plan got foiled by a silly little game, computer game. I forget what it was called though. I know, it took up a whole bunch of my time all of a sudden. Then it became a job, really weird. I mean, playing computer games for a job? What are you talking about, X? What have you been smoking, son? You know? I think you're still an influence for the Dungeon Synth genre right now, by exposing the genre so much, says Talbar. I don't know. I really don't know how much exposure I gave to it, because I think its presence in my videos was not... I mean, I don't know how many people then went and branched out and explored, but I never got like a feedback of people saying Dungeon Synth to me very often, as in like through your videos. I do not recall that at all. Maybe it's out there. Maybe like at certain points in time someone did comment something, this, that and the other. I do not recall it really. So I kind of think like I was just sort of there. It is possible though. It is possible that it helped more people find it, which is great. But I didn't get a sense that like my role was ever important in any way. It was just, yeah, I definitely, you know, introduced that to some people, but I don't really know if they went off and became a big fan of it. New Xisuma says video, Minecraft ruined my life and dreams. Well, you know, it took me on a different path, one I didn't expect. While I was very determined and focused to get on a different path, and ironically it was like in the downtime of distraction. You know, I would still play computer games casually back then. Just felt like you needed it. Needed a little bit of like brain zonk out time. It's very interesting how like when you're working the 9 to 5, you need that a lot, and then when all of a sudden you're like the master of your own destiny, which sounds very dramatic. You know, you're in control, you're doing what you do, and then like you don't need that like zonk out time as much anymore. You're ready to like go in all the way and put all your time into it. Right, I need a bunch of composters now. That means slabby jabs, right? Jeez, we might not even build this thing today. We might just be out here making all the parts for it because it's such a beast. That should then translate 54. How many did I need? 56. Well, there you go. I'm just going to eat that up and make more than we need. Put a stack in. I listened to Dungeon Synth because of you, says Taubar. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Is Soulside Eclipse the Dungeon Synth stuff on Spotify? But it was released 2010. Well, I was trying to remember that last night. Was it 2010 or 11? I'm sure it was 2011. No, maybe it was. Maybe I got that. Yeah, no. I got that one done before I started doing Minecraft, and I was in the process of recording the next record when the Minecraft thing hit. And I only got one song off of that record recorded in like demo form. I needed to learn so much more about recording guitars. So yeah, I was like there right as the term got coined. What I remember is when I was making that record, I knew it was Dungeon Synth. So I think I must have happened into the scene right as the term got coined, which was fascinating. Right, apparently I need a whole stack of chests, and I've got loads of those lying around. Powered rails next. Need a bunch of those. We've got another noise in the ear. Let's have a little read. We've got 2! 3! Oh, I've missed 3 of them. Arilalia. Oh, gosh, probably butchered that name. Thank you so much for subscribing. Cuplex is here for 66 months. Is this evil enough months? Nope. You're 600 short, my dude. 600. God, get it together, Cuplex. Get it together. Nah, I'm only messing. I appreciate you, my dude. DJ Ifrit is here for 7. Ifrit. Reminds me of Final Fantasy 7. For 7 months, yeah. Thank you so much. Comparators and rails still missing, says Cybot. Yes. Let me check. I don't see comparators on the list, so I'm not sure quite what you mean by that. Because, or maybe I accidentally deleted comparators. Is that what we're saying? Let's go check it out. So yeah, anyway, I made that record like right at the beginning of that term, you know, and who knows where it could have gone. Like, I did not do a lot to promote my record, and maybe I could have used my channel early on, and then it might have, I don't know, been held in some regard or whatever, but I don't really care for that much. To me, it's about the act of doing the music that means the most. Redstone comparator. Oh, it starts with redstone. I was scanning the list for just comparator. Oh my god, Xisuma stemming, says Bob and Jerry. Yes, that's right. I'm stemming. I'm stemming all over the internet. I can be pretty confident that you've introduced Dungeon Synth to more people than anyone else in history has. Even not all those people who went out and bought the album, says the thingy. I mean, I don't know how you quantify those things. I think it's like, maybe if you're in Dungeon Synth circles and you keep seeing the channel name pop up, then maybe, but like, otherwise I think it's more of a hunch. Like, obviously, I've got a lot of subscribers, lots of people watch the videos with the music in, like, it's got the potential to, but that doesn't necessarily translate to, you know, to actual converts, if you like. It's like when, you know, a record label, let's say, goes after a YouTuber who's got a song in their video, and what they don't realise is that they're not stealing the song and making money off it, because people didn't go to that video for that song. What's happening is they go to the video for the thing they know, and it gives exposure to this new thing. But yeah, you know, I don't know. And watching the video just again reminded me of these ideas that I have knocking around in my head of like certain sounds that I like that could be mixed with like Dungeon Synth aesthetics, or I've had so many of them over the years. and it doesn't really matter like how many they are. There's always something to go jump in and do and get involved with, and yeah, it just really made me feel like, you know, one day I'm gonna get back to that, and it's gonna be so much fun when I get there. But you know, that day is not tomorrow. Might be quite some time, but it's gonna happen. I made this like promise to myself that I will get there, because I've been wanting to do it for so long, to get back into it. And that's one of the reasons I decided to put my music out properly on Spotify recently, was just a case of like, you know, it's always like, it's always someday in the future, and like if I'd have just put that stuff out way earlier, there might just be more people listening to it that will, you know, at some point in the future jump on and enjoy whatever's next. So might as well just get that stuff there ready. Target blocks are next. Oh, wait a minute. Give you some of that. How do you feel about Hermit Gang now? Absolutely love it. Hermit Gang was amazing. That was so much fun doing the raps. The rapping and the rhyming. What's on my list? Target block. I mean, I could just pinch one out of there, right? There's 5. No, we need more than that. Here's what we'll do. We'll grab a stack of hay. Hey. And surround it with some of the finest redstones. Right, and I only need 16 of these. I'm just going to chuck the whole stack in. Then we got like glass. Okay, probably just fish that out of my shulker box. Birch signs will just come out of the shulker box. Then we got a bunch of shulker box listed here. A button, a dispenser. Yeah. Actually, we're pretty much done. A piston. Yeah, we're done. That was the last of all the things that we needed to collect. How cool is that? Where can I find a good Dungeon Synth playlist, says Really Greeny. Just search for Dungeon Synth playlist. And if you go to YouTube, there is, and you search Dungeon Synth, there's the Orang 2-hour video, and also there's the Dungeon Synth archives. Those are some good places to pick up some Dungeon Synth. I mean, you got Jalur playing right here. That could be a place for you to start. You got my record. My record's a little bit, I don't know. I don't know how it is to like a Dungeon Synth listener, but to my ears, like it's got a little bit of something else in it. I don't know what you call it. Like I didn't really restrict what I was doing to like a total aesthetic. Like there's some sound design. There's a sound design track in it, like trying to tell a story. There's some stuff that's more lush and focuses on pianos. Then there's like some low fidelity ambience. It's a bit of a mix of things, but the idea of the record is that there's an actual story. It was really like an amazing thing to experience as I was creating it. Was just like this, each of the songs started to like build up an identity, and with that they started to feel like a story, like there were things that would link together. And once I got my head around that, then I could start to write songs more with the idea for the story coming first, which was like quite different. Yeah, and I think the last song that I wrote, which is called Hero's End, which is I vividly remember just being, I was in some woods, and I was just spending like the day doing the work and constantly like thinking about how this song was going to work. And I was like hearing the melody in my head, and I had this idea of like the reverb as the final bit of the song just keeps like going on. The reverb needs to like get deeper and denser to like really enforce like the sorrow that it's trying to express. And then I like got home and I got to execute it, and it was just really gratifying. It was like, oh, this works. Oh dang it! I was trying to fire up my camera account and I made a mistake there. So I forgot to switch accounts, which is fine. That happens. Anyway, I think we'll knock that story on the head You're in some woods, says Jigrabble. Yeah, believe it or not, people have to do work in woods. Snow is my favourite song of yours, says Talbot. Snow is probably my favourite off that record. Snow and Withering Visions was originally just one track, but I decided to split it into two. And that was like a sound that it took me a long time to like find and make. And then when I got it, it was just like, oh, awesome. I can now like express what I want to express. Mon PJC says they've been looking at the mods that enhance vanilla experience, but vanilla tweaks. What mods or enhancements would you like to see other than the inventory update? Probably just stuff that I've already got in the, you know, like in that video that I made. The ones that I use, they're pretty much the things. Oh, Talbot asks if the documentary I mentioned is on YouTube. It absolutely is, yeah. Maybe just search. In fact, it's on my playlist, so give me a second. Because I've been meaning to jump back in and follow up on some of the recommendations in there. And different artists and whatnot. It's a great way to discover music. It's called Dungeon Synth, A Long Introduction by Esoteric Internet. 47 minutes. So if you're looking for a deep dive on Dungeon Synth, that is for you, I guess. Alright, swiftly moving on. We got a storage system to build, and for some reason my camera account hasn't loaded yet. Still waiting for that. This, my friends, will be the last of the coffee. It is actually the last of the instant decaf. It's really strange because I got into coffee through freshly ground beans, and then I kind of wanted some decaf that was just quick to make on the side because I now like the taste of coffee. And yeah, just got one of those like Nescafe instant ones and really actually liked it more than the freshly ground decaf that I have. But yeah, I haven't had properly caffeinated coffee for like 5 days, I think. And I've been drinking decaf tea, and like I know there's still like caffeine and stuff in it, but I'm just like tapering off, and I think I'm just gonna go like a week without a week or two without some fresh coffee, just to see how I feel, how I deal with it. Have we got a noise in here? I've got all my windows over here all messed up, swapped around. No, I just heard a phantom noise. Right, I think what I'm gonna do before we get started here is just take a break and nip to the loo, as they say. Just adjusting the desk here as well. Gonna stand up for a bit, right? I think he says I'm expecting that to be longer than 5 days. The longer I better, I guess. Well, it's been, you know, that amount of days since I had a proper coffee. I just started to get this feeling like, am I having this stuff all the time now? It felt like every day. And so I thought, well, you know, one a day, not terrible, but let's just take a break for a while and see how we feel. And so far I feel just fine, really, so don't know what that means yet. HB9634, thank you so much for subscribing. You are greatly appreciated, and peeps, don't go anywhere. If you happen to go somewhere, be sure to hit that follow button. But anyway, I am going to nip to the loo, as they say. Time to do another one of my lame jokes. Oh, what's it going to be this time? Pretend I don't like streaming. No, I've done that one already. What else could I do? Oh, I don't know. Let's just go live. And I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm back. Hi, I'm here. I'm here. Ready to do a live stream. Again, well, I'm already live streaming right now. Now I'm just back. Okay. Ready to build. Apparently, a single X viewer can gain up to 2,000 derp coins per stream. Raid bonus plus streak bonus plus gift bonus, etc. With 3 streams each week, it would take 2.8 thousand years to get the face reveal. But with 2k viewers, for 5 years, everybody together would have saved up 3,500 million derp coins. I love the math on that. I love the math. I mean, I'm not going to double check it. I'm not going to verify it, because let's face it, I'm not a mathematician, but that sounds reasonable to me. You know, I might have to raise it a little bit. You know, 2.8k years. That'll go past in no time. You know, for this artificial intelligence. What? Okay, let's go place some polished andesite. Let's get a building down here. Let's also do it like layer by layer. That always makes life easier, doesn't it? I think it does. Oh, placed the wrong block. Immediate fail. That's not math, that's counting, says Lucaro. I think you'll find that they are one and the same. Because I declared it to be so. Uh-huh. We talked about that, that channel that I tuned in and watched them playing, and it, like, they would have these ghost blocks and they would just automatically place. And I was like, don't know about that. Then again, some people think, you know, the schematic goes too far anyway. Yeah, what's next? Like, reds, lots of repeaters, lots of comparators, lots of redstone bits. That's good. We like all of that, don't we? I know what these are. These are like little clocks, aren't they? Little clock systems. Oops. Uh-huh. And then that way. Still need the polished stuff, though, up here. Mm-hmm. And you've offended every mathematician ever, says Lucro. Come at me, bro. Come at me. It must be interesting when you are out and about and someone talk to you when no one know who you are, says Trains the Attic. No, not at all, really. I do not walk around going, I'm a YouTuber, I've got so many subscribers. That's not what I do. In fact, I don't really care to be known in the IRL world as a YouTuber. It's why I don't go to conventions and stuff. I'm not interested in turning up and being like, hey, it's me, the guy with these numbers next to my name over here. Doesn't interest me at all. In fact, if anything, you know, if I were to like meet people and make friends and whatnot, I'd rather them just like not know. I mean, I don't mind talking about it, but I don't know. It's just like, it's not the measure of who you are. Like, how many followers you have don't really mean that much. What do you tell people you do? I tell them I make Minecraft videos on YouTube. Like, most people know about it now. There were some times in the past where I had to explain it to someone, and like the look on their face was just like, they might have thought I was mental. I'm like, I play games for a living. They're like, what? On the internet I make videos? You do what? That kind of thing. Yeah, the guy who I tried to pitch my mortgage to, or you know, like, hey, give me a mortgage, please. Like, the look on his face was just priceless. Just like had no idea, no understanding of what I was talking about at all. And they were like, And at the end he was just like, yeah, we're not going to give you a mortgage. Oh god, I'm falling down the hole now, aren't I? Have you ever been stopped at airports with the same questioning? What do you mean? You sir! You sir with the bag shaped like a bomb! Come over here! Don't know what bombs are traditionally shaped like. Are you a YouTuber? It's just not how the world works. Just the Zeus. Sorry to hear you're sick, my dude. Glad you're able to hang out with us and recover, though. Good to hear it's helping in some way. Curl says, no, the TSA will only question you about that screen mask. Sir, please take off the mask. What mask? This is my real face. I'm offended. Anyway. It's got the same sound as the hay block, right? I wonder if that's could be classified as something unfinished, maybe. Like that needs to be changed, updated, whatever. Oh yeah, we've got the observer block over here too to deal with. Oh, another one here. Yeah, just the observer block for that layer then. And does it face towards you? I think the face is always away. There you go. Oh, we've got a block here. Right, and then it's just a case of, I think some redstone is just affected by other bits nearby. We've got a button over here. I don't know if that, like, does anything important. Maybe it starts the system. Hey, do you know what? I don't have what I need in my inventory, but there it is. Bam, that's all I needed. Oh, do you know what? It might actually need to be a wooden button. Oh, apparently the button was for testing and is not necessary. Thank you, Cyber. Appreciate you. Did Massa finish the official version of Light Manica? I think when I got them this time, they were the official ones, so I believe the answer is yes, but I could be mistaken. Right, a couple of blocks there. So yeah, those ones sort of fix the one below, I think, is the idea. Like here, bam. Is that... That's supposed to be something different? Oh yeah, look at that. Let's go grab that block next then. Are you going to experience with putting this kind of music in your videos? I haven't used Jalur. I haven't experimented with that yet. I have, on occasion, dabbled a little bit with some other stuff, but it's like mixed results usually, whereas when I use the Minecraft music, it always just feels so right for what we're doing. I've wondered about putting a little bit of music into the scripted videos, but I do feel like the music adds to the experience, but sometimes I don't know. Like I don't want to watch a live stream a lot of the time because there's music playing, which might sound odd, but like I would rather watch the live stream and have my own music on. So I feel like because I can do that. My brain's got like a secondary path for music, so I can just experience both. But if it's someone else's music and I'm like, oh, I wanted to listen to that record, not in control. HB. Now that's not new, is it? I thought. Oh, never mind. I thought I saw something change on the other screen. Let's go over here. Do this. We got torches. We'll probably need something at some point, so why not have a little bit of everything? That's the way you do it. Ah, look at this. Right, yeah, something big starts there, and redstone torches go over the back here. On the YouTube videos I'm planning on making, I'm going to set up a synth patch, gradually changing the ambient music in the background. That sounds cool. That's the kind of stuff I'd like to put on the backing of some of my talky videos, just like gentle ambient-y stuff. But yeah, I mean, again, I've experimented with that before. Right, we got Summon Sus here for 27 months. Hello from Amsterdam, Xisuma in chat, officially 27 months. Also, may or may not have lost my mother for 15 minutes in the city. Talk to you later. Yeah, maybe go and find your mother. Or give her a call. If she's not, you know, doesn't have... I mean, some of the older generation aren't too tech savvy, right? But yeah, go find your mother. Jeez. Thank you for 27 months, my dude. Greatly appreciated. Alright, and then we put a slab over here. And then that's a hopper there. But what way is it facing? God, it's going to get complicated here now, isn't it? Then I guess it probably goes up to this slab. Whoops. The resource pack for these hoppers is broken at the moment, so the arrows are all pointing, like, technically not in the right direction. If I look at it from here, if I remember correctly, the width of this means the hoppers down below used to have to do some funky finagling, but that was potentially just the old design. So far so good, it would seem. Maybe they all just stretch out like that. Yeah, looks like they all just stretch out, so why make it more complicated than it is? We've got another noise in the ear. It's Geordie7859, 24 months, 2 whole years, saying that's a month for every year of my life, half of which you have influenced and inspired greatly. Much love. Thank you, my dude. Does that mean you've been around from the beginning, I guess? I haven't reached 12 years on YouTube yet. Actually, it was my YouTube birthday just 4 days ago. I had a few people, as always, say, happy birthday, X, and I always, like, think that's not my birthday, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's the channel birthday. Yeah, that marked 11 years now. So a year ago then, I did my longest ever live stream. I noticed it a while ago. It was like a 5-hour live stream just looking back at old videos and checking out nostalgic things. And I saw Impulse doing his 10-year stream just the other day here on Twitch. Maybe yesterday, was it? Doing the same thing, had the whole video feed like up on the screen. I thought it was cool. So yeah, like it's amazing how long we've all kind of like been around this whole thing for now. See, it's gonna give me red if I place this wrong, right? Oh wait, what I can do is put one there and then one to the side of it. There you go. So popping around here, definitely probably don't want that. Right, that appears to be much of the, or all of that bit. So now we should go to the next level. I'm guessing there's redstone here, yep. And it probably goes up this way again. Redstone there. Right, and then another bunch of droppers. Sometimes, like, doing stuff layer by layer can be easier to build it a different way, but I think this one, although there might be, it seems to be pretty friendly so far to the layer by layer approach. Which is how I got started on YouTube, funny enough. Doing those layer by layer tutorials. What a long time ago that was now. You should tell Aoife about Mike Madica. When he built his game, he said it was hard because he had to click back and forth to another world for the reference. He knows all about Light Madica, he just doesn't like to use it. But that's the thing though, like, you know, going back and forth between a world is one thing. Like, you can take screenshots and then build from screenshots. But often that can, you know, get a little confusing. You have to take a lot of them, and sometimes you're not quite sure if you're putting it in the right spot. All of this stuff just generally leads towards something like Madica. As I said the other day, if this exists and players want to use it, it speaks to a limitation of the game, and it's just not a limitation that I think aligns with the game's general goals, which will be to become more successful, probably among younger audiences than technical-minded ones. Or let's say more casual audiences than technical ones. That's interesting. Oh, okay, that's because I didn't thought it was just the extra tick, but it's 2 extra ticks. Right, so when I crouch here and place the observer, like, it will be in the right spot, but look at this. We've got to do this with the old powered rails now. And we don't want to break any blocks and have them, like, fall in. That could be annoying. Right, observers. Observers be observing. Now let's turn this off for a second, because we don't have a lot of room. I've got to click there. Oh, look at that. It does actually... gives us it. Excellent. And we can put one there. Cool. And there's one more down the end. Right, and then there's a bunch of hoppers, like, facing in the wrong direction. See, I've got to break all of this. And then they're just going to fall into the system and I'm going to have to fish them out. I know how this works. Is there supposed to be a hopper below that one? Kind of feels like it would. It looks like we've been raided. Molly the Spy, thank you ever so much for the raid. Welcome all the raiders. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. And hope your stream was fun. I feel like there's going to be redstone there, isn't there? Right, more composters. And then the chest. And then the slab. Nice. Nice. Okay, what's this thing? Hello? The hopper? A hibbity hoobity hopper. Put that one into place. Just wondering if I do actually need to, like, what happens when I break this? Oh, right, there is actually that block there. Interesting. Summon Sus is here with a donation saying Mother Sus is already located and is safe and sound. I am not that irresponsible of an adult to completely lose my family members in a foreign country. But you kind of suggested that with the message. Jeez, I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood you. Glad to hear Mother Sus is safe. Suspiciously safe, might I say. No. Thank you so much, my dude. Appreciate the dono. X, what is your favourite colour, says Jaden. It is definitely blorange. There's no more beautiful colour in my mind. One composter could also be a block, but it doesn't really. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Did I just make it do something? I think it's doing things because it's got blocks in it now. Great. Just great. Not what I wanted. I don't even know. Oh, jeez. I've created a monster. Okay, let's look for the useful blocks. And grab some scaffolding. Scaffolding, you say? Scaffolding, yes. Right, looks like it... Oh, look, it all came up here. Yeah? Maybe I should have counted that, so I know exactly how many. Anyways, I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that that's okay. Oh, is this gonna do it over and over again? Because they're always... Wait, no, then they're gonna start pointing the other way. Alright. But, might as well just get this over and done with. I basically got to take off all of this now. I mean, it's just gonna end up in there, so like, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do all of that. Let's cause a ruckus. Let's get the redstone firing. Yep, let's see. It's doing things, peeps. I mean, there's enough there to get it all going around. I'm a little surprised. Yeah, this might have been terrible, actually. I might have assumed all of it came out the top, but some of it might still be down below. Let's leave it for a minute and see what it does while we put these next hoppers in. Erison Manning says, I created a monster. No one wants to see Marshall no more and chopped liver. I was thinking that exact lyric when I said it. Funny how the times change, isn't it? God, I remember just like growing up and... Why are they changing? You know, MTV every day it was Eminem. Now MTV ain't even a thing. It ain't even a thing, yo. Actually, I think we can sort of partially diagnose this on the fact that the droppers would highlight if they had something other than nothing in, so this thing should just resolve itself. I don't know why these ones keep changing though. At some point it should all stop. So enabled true or false. They're all enabled, but it seems to think some of these should be the other way around. I'm not sure about that. Okay, let's go up a level. We know all of these ones are going to face this direction now. Oh, that one actually faced or placed wrong. Oh, and I got it back because I jumped over here in time. You know what, I'm not sure I entirely triple checked this layer, but it looks good, doesn't it? So I think we're probably good at that front. Gonna need more repeaters. What is MTV? X, sit down, son, and tell you a legend. Music television. It was a thing that people used to watch. I mean, yeah, like y'all really, like a lot of you are probably grown up without television being a big thing and whatnot, and it's just the way, you know, it's just the way it's always been, right? New stuff replaces the old. I keep coming across the topic of job replacement recently, and it's something I think I'd like to do a little writing on, because I have a way of looking at it. Like, I think it's coming around the discussion again because of AI, and AI is now starting to influence like gaming. Like there's jobs in gaming that are being automated by AI. There's jobs in art that are, you know, AI art is a thing I'm sure we've all seen. Why am I stuttering to move forward here but not there? Are you seeing this? Like, there's some stuttering. Is that something? I think it might be something. It's probably something to do with the composter and its hitbox. Even though there's a rail there, there's some sort of interaction going on. See, I have this particular view that, and if you've heard me waffle about various views that I have, let's say, you might notice that I refer to history a lot. Especially like in this day and age where there's many different crises and conflicts, and there's always something on the news that's doom and gloom. It's of the day and not so much in line with the past. And what I mean by that is, what's going on here? Triggered false. Ah, so maybe as we build more of it, the redstone will update it or something. What I mean by that is, you know, whatever's the worst thing like kind of happening today tends to be far more preferable than living 100 years ago, or even 50 years ago, and 100. And I don't think that's an argument to say, hey, everything's fine, look the other way, but it's more of a, do you personally need to suffer from the news cycle? Is it actually that relevant to you in your situation? Are you a person in a position of particular interest to these things? And if the answer to those is like no, then there's a lot of things to be thankful for that we have today. Anyway, AI kind of ties into that a little bit, I think, because when it comes to talking about things replacing jobs, It's often a topic that people get very emotional over, which is understandable, and protective of jobs, because people need to do jobs for a living, right? But when you take an historical look at jobs, you see this constant pattern of like jobs always seem to be getting replaced, and currently there's more people working than ever. So what you're seeing is like society is sort of expanding, but when you're in the moment you don't see it that way. So when you hear about AI replacing people's jobs, you sort of think that those jobs are then gone forever, which they are, but their disappearance tends to create new jobs. And like history helps with that, because as you learn about the histories of old technologies, the way things were once done, you see the same thing happen over and over again. Like for example, cars replaced horses and carriages, right? And not only that, but the people riding them, and then the industries that, you know, were built around it that would feed horses, or the I forget what they're called. They have like a proper name, but there's like stopgaps. Maybe you call it the equivalent of a service station up and down roads that used to service horses and carriages, right? They all went out of business, and like this is the loss of people's jobs. But then the auto industry and cars, you know, that was supposed to kill people's livelihoods and whatnot, they just led to more possibilities, more opportunity for people to move around, and therefore created jobs like that. So the way I see this AI stuff is that it's going to shift the work that we do, and there is the potential for it to outright replace, and something maybe dystopian where, you know, those that control the AIs have all the wealth and power and stuff, but you know, that needs to be navigated as well to assure that doesn't happen. But I think the principle is just that it'll lead to new jobs, as long as, you know, protections are, let's say, put in place to some extent. And I'm not talking about protecting new jobs, it's essentially assuring that these powers aren't abused to some extent to create a monopoly. But anyway, like, so artists are fearful of losing their jobs, which they might do to AI. That might happen, but then what will probably happen is it will open up the doors for other things. So the loss of jobs is actually like a loss of a type of job, but then overall it seems to be that more things are created from it. And so in terms of like companies and businesses and people out there like creating things, like maybe the art isn't so important, and having an AI create something quickly as opposed to hiring an artist, right? That might free up resources for other things in that industry to excel, which might lead to more job creation, etc. Like, if you look back, it's always automation that's the fear, and yet it tends to just lead to more jobs. In a ways, like less manual labor also leads to more leisure and entertainment. And you can pretty much like look at any industry and thing and then trace it back in time and see how technology has essentially replaced some people's jobs. So if we take something like what I'm doing right now, like live streaming, imagine trying to live stream like at some point in the past. Like, what would it have looked like in the 90s, right? Well, the internet wasn't good enough, so you'd probably have to convince some broadcasting company, right, that you know, you're going to do this live stream on their television channel. So that's going to involve a whole bunch of people working around, you know, that channel to make sure it's up and running. And then you'd need someone to capture what you're doing, you know? And you need like an audio technician. You need all these different like layers, right? But now, because of technology and because of automation and because of things, you know, just increasing in power and abundance, it's now software, right? Like a bunch of, like OBS is written, I think, by just one person in the beginning. And how many people have been able to just stream individually because of that, right? So you got a loss of all sorts of jobs to do with broadcasting because it's become simpler to broadcast. but then it's created new opportunities in its place, like having entertainers play games and broadcast them out to a bunch of people that want to watch. There's like less people involved than there once would have been, but in general there are just more jobs around everywhere. The trouble is, AI can't create art in the sense that a human creates art. AI can imitate, and it can imitate 1,000 different people, but I don't think art that says anything meaningful can be created by an AI, because for the time being they don't have true feelings or opinions to express such like humans do. See, I disagree with that, because I see what we are in the way that we experience being human as being a sort of self-imposed illusion that there is this like ethereal realm of inspiration and creativity. I see inspiration, you know, as an emotive state, but creativity is remixing. Nothing's truly unique. Everything comes from other ideas before it. And, you know, any type of like music, art, like, again, studying history, learning about the history of art, you see how the thing before it influences the next thing, right? And if you think of us less through the lens of emotion, and you put less weight on that, and you think of us more through the terms of us having a brain, an air quotes neural net, which is what AIs have. Remember, the AIs are imitating our brains to some extent. That's how we've got them to do what they do. We've modeled them around various aspects of how the brain works. So our experience is obviously different from what we're actually doing, but in an essence we're exploring our memory and finding references to create the thing that we want to create. And that is what the AI is doing too. Right? Just because we've built it and we think of it as being, I don't know, computer code or whatever, it is emulating the same thing that is happening inside of us. That we are an amalgamation of all the things that we've been through, which is the AI's data set that it is built from, and that we are like actively remixing whatever that is. Yeah, let's put that there. What we got going on here? That is an observer facing up, and a piece of redstone over here. Right, and then there's that on top of the glass block, and it's starting to look a lot better. Right, droppers next. I feel like art created using AI is its own artistic technique or style. Yeah, I didn't quite get to read the rest of that because it rolled off the top of the screen. Absolutely. It is, what was the example that I heard recently that caught my eye? Like, it relates to people losing their jobs again, right? So, typography used to be a profession, but now it's replaced by Google Fonts. And anyone who's creating art with typography doesn't go to a typographer anymore. They just use a font off of Google. Some of this stuff, some of the job replacement, if you have a position on being against it, it's almost like invisible to you at times. You don't go to your fonts when you're using Photoshop, or let's say you're just writing a Word document. You don't go and select that font and think, oh, someone used to do that. Like, that's not the way we think. And those little things are absolutely everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere, especially with computers. They're like, once upon a time, the things you wanted to do on a computer took a whole bunch of people to do. Maybe even maths could be an example, right? Like, did the calculator replace some mathematicians' jobs? Probably. Don't recall ever seeing a history of calculators and mathematicians, but it sounds like a very likely scenario, right? AI is currently an enhancement for humanity, not a replacement. In my opinion, that would be good to aim for that. Yeah, and the fears around it replacing, or that kind of narrative of it taking over, I think they're legitimate, and the conversation needs to address that and make sure we don't go near it. But I just don't think from a place of thinking that's actually what is going to happen. It feels like a lot of conversation that you find on that side of it is like doom and gloom. AI is going to take over, and it's like, we obviously need to discuss this. It's a legitimate risk, but it really starts with us. We're creating it. So how we create it, what we choose for it to be will define what it will become to some extent. So if we navigate that, I don't think it has to become a doom and gloom thing at all. VCR factory workers probably hated DVDs. Ezra Manning, great comment, right? Like, remember how cassette was going to kill music? Oh, in fact, the first recordings of music, right? When music was first able to be recorded, right, the fear was that the live experience of music would go away and that people wouldn't want to come out anymore and watch musicians perform music, right? That didn't turn out to be true. But, you know, then cassettes came along and that was going to ruin music because everyone would just copy it. And then Napster came along and that was going to ruin, right? And like again and again, like streaming services. Now the DVD manufacturers are out of business, right? I bet you they don't manufacture as many DVDs as they once did thanks to streaming. So new technology comes along, it replaces jobs, it makes things around that easier, but as those things get easier, it's stuff like our creativity that gets to flourish, and other things get to then, you know, like we're climbing a ladder, right? Each time we find a way to make a job easier or replace it, we get to climb up the ladder to the next rung. The social thing that I didn't really get to like comment on too much about that is that yes, when people lose their jobs, they're not automatically then like lined up for the next thing, right? Which is more of a societal issue that I think is something to address regarding this topic. Like, yeah, we need to like have a more robust society for dealing with people when they lose work, especially to things like automation, right? There's a load of truckers in America that are probably gonna lose their jobs as automation comes in and replaces a lot of the driving that they need to do. So like society does need to have like a social kind of system for like, hey, you're contributing and now this new thing is going to remove your contribution, and then you need to be able to support those people. But in my mind, like that's sort of separate from, like, the AI isn't the culprit there, or the new technology isn't the culprit. It's the structure of society that then becomes the problem. Sky TV no longer uses the Sky, but streaming. I haven't used Sky in so long that I don't quite know what you mean by that. Do you mean they just use the term streaming now because it's so prevalent? Is that what I guess you mean by that? Next we will just join the collective. Lol, welcome the Borg. Well, people talk about the singularity and the idea that all of this connectivity could condense itself to some form of singularity like that. I mean, what is the extension of mobile phones, right? Mobile phones brought us together. In fact, go back a little further. My nana always tell me how when she was a child they didn't have a phone in the house, and like how miraculous it was when they got one. So there was a point in time where people wrote letters. It took time for letters to traverse from one person to another. There was then the invention of the telephone, right? And then all of a sudden we can ring people up and communicate with them quickly. And then things like emails come along, and then the phones get put in our pockets, and like now we have notification systems. Like the rate of communication gets faster and is easier and is more connected. And so where is that heading to? Some sort of ultimate state of connectivity for humans, right? So let's imagine the next extension of phones in our pockets as being, you know, not even a thing in your pocket. Now it's in your brain. Think Neuralink, right? Like this is potentially where it'll end up. Now your phone is just a chip. Or maybe you know, maybe we don't start with a chip. Maybe it's like a Fitbit on your wrist. Maybe Fitbit comes along and says, we can put all the phone stuff in here. In fact, I've got a headset, like the equivalent of putting earbuds in your ears, that doesn't go in your ears and it just vibrates sound into your body. And you know, that's like even more discreet. So at some point it's like you maybe just have a small device on you that vibrates the sounds you need to hear into your body. So you know, you might not even have to pull out your phone to interact with the equivalent of it. You know, this thing could interact with you in different ways. You know, Neuralink maybe plugs directly into the brain. Maybe there'll be some stages before we get there. something a little more superficial, like maybe your Fitbit can sort of sense gestures. You move your hand around to make a call or something. This will again just decrease the distance between each other. You know, now we don't even have to reach for our smartphone. Imagine a phone call is like a literal, oh, you think about someone, then in your head you like reach out to them and say, oh, do you want to do something on the weekend? And like, vroom, over the network, boom, into their little head sensor, and they're like, they hear you go, oh, do you want to do something on the weekend? And then they're like, vroom, back all the way over, yeah, sure, let's go over here, let's do that, right? Like, that could be where it's heading. Communication could become like that, which is wild. Just wild. I think, you know, when you're young, you notice at some point in time that old people, I don't know, resist technology. And I mean old people as in, I'll be old one day, right? I feel like I'm going to be like that. I feel like I'm seeing frontiers already. Like, I am not interested in using TikTok. I have put content on there and tried to approach it from that direction, but I do not want to be a TikTok user. The low attention span thing, it scares the heck out of me, but I don't know if that's like a fully founded fear, or if that's more of like I'm used to my slower content, you know? I'm used to sitting down and watching a 20-minute YouTube video about trains. Because I can see the same parallel when I watch documentaries on TV with my family, for example. The pacing of TV is just different, and it's slow, and it's not as interesting as I find my YouTube videos. And yet my YouTube videos are probably too fast for everyone else. So like, you see that generational difference where, you know, you're brought up watching a medium in one sort of style, and you can go and watch movies from like the 80s, and you know, they've got that feeling of like the era to them. And what you'll notice is pace is probably a big part of it. You go back to the 70s and watch movies from there, and all of a sudden you notice the pacing is just a bit slower. And it seems like, yeah. How did we get to all of this? When I waffle, there's always that confusing point where I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? Right, can I have that? No, you're going to go into the system and ruin everything. I know how this works. I know how this works. Definitely X. It has been identified that society as a whole kind of has ADHD. With consuming TikTok sort of content over and over again, I think there's a definite risk of reducing our attention spans. But again, like, the old gives way to the new. Let's say we fast forward 50 years, and you know, people are talking to each other instantly in their headsets and whatnot. Like, who's to say that doesn't work for those people? I don't know if it will or it won't. But I probably won't be a part of it. I will probably resist the direct-to-brain connectivity options whenever they arise. Maybe not even rationally, just because I'm of a different generation. But yeah, you know, it does seem rational to consider that we have evolved for such a long time with a different attention span to what now we are engaging with, and we don't know how that's going to play out. You can definitely say things like that. Back in my day, says Esther Matu. Back in my day, exactly. Attention spans are getting shorter with time because we can transfer information faster. It's easier to see a scene than reading a description of it, says Daniel Nerd. Absolutely. And how much gratification is there for like stuff like nostalgia and finding things? It feels like the amount of information just dismays a lot of mystery. Like, there used to be a time where, let's say if you wanted to watch Star Wars, I don't think, like, Star Wars came out in the 70s, right? A lot of people know it as something they enjoy. They know there were these original movies, and then there's all these other series, right? And, you know, you can just pick up Disney Plus and start streaming it, right? That might just be how you know Star Wars, but for some people, it was something where they queued up to go to the cinema to watch it that one time, and while it was in the cinema, maybe they went back in a couple of times to watch it again and again because they liked it that much. But then it changes. Like for a different generation, like mine, I don't know if like after the movies came out, if they got a lot of reruns, if there was a lot of like people watching it in the cinema again. I don't really know quite how that plays out. Is it me or is it when I click on it that it changes state? Huh, interesting. Maybe we'll just set them all back to normal. And that repeater, I don't know where it is. Anyways, everyone experiences like this Star Wars thing differently. So for my generation, there was still only 3 movies, but then they came out on VHS. And there's an interesting story about how they were slightly altered on VHS. You know, there were iterations and differences which led to groups of people trying to restore the original Star Wars as it was first seen in the cinema and whatnot. But yeah, so my generation could rewind the tape and start again. And then eventually they came out on DVDs and that got a little easier. But then, you know, with time they made more movies, and now they're making movies, cartoons, series, and it's all just there at the click of a button. And the thing I was saying about nostalgia is just like you have like these vague memories, or at least I do, growing up in the 90s. Oh, what was that show? Oh, just all of a sudden something reminded me of it. Like sometimes it's like a smell or a food. When I was on holiday, I consumed some things. Let me think, what was it? Like, I don't know, a particular food or something or other that just immediately reminded me of something from my childhood where I spent a lot of time in Wales. And now I can go look it up, right, and see it again. What was that thing? Oh, yeah, actually I remember. It was like that show on ITV or whatever. Go look it up. ITV, 90s. What were they showing? This show, that one. There's a list on Wikipedia. Right, hop over to YouTube, type in the name of the show I think it was. Oh, look at that, there it is. Now I can watch the full season. I can flick through it to the exact moment that I remember. Sometimes this happens for more important things, doesn't it? That's supposed to be a dispenser, that's the issue. So like with more important things in life, things that you really need to remember and know that are significant or of value, all that information just adds up to that stuff. Again, this ties back into the AI discussion of like why we should embrace this stuff, because it's just increasing the sort of power of information on all of this, which I think is positive in the long run. There we go. It's hard to pick what to watch now that there's too much, says Haley Bailey. That is another interesting point. I have also felt like that, a little overwhelmed. All these options sometimes, and what I try and do is like try and sort of block out the options and focus on one thing at a time. So I decided that I was going to watch Andor, right? And now when the new Andor episode is out, I look forward to watching it, and then I watch it and that's it. Like, and I'm not thinking about what else is on Disney. I'm not going on there to browse. I'm just going to go and watch that. So I like to try and pick like one thing at a time, or maybe 2 things, but not unintentionally browse, right? Like I'm not casually looking for something. It's always going to be, I've put something on my list for a reason, and then when it's out, I will consume it if I have the time and enjoy it that way. But yeah, I absolutely know what you mean about the feeling of being overwhelmed, and I think the trick is just to navigate it in a way that works for you, and for me that is to sort of preemptively decide like what thing it is I'm watching over the next couple of weeks or whatever, right? And then when I sit down in the evening and I'm like, oh, I need a little bit of time here, I turn on Netflix and put on the thing that I want to watch. Which, by the way, okay, gonna take a dark old turn right now. Dark old turn. The thing that I've been watching is the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary / well, let's make sure we pick these up. It is a dramatization, but one that I believe aims to be mostly faithful based on what I remember of that whole story. Oh, I think it's highlighted because this is supposed to be powered. Jeffrey Dahmer gives me the chills, says Hey Indeed. Some milk, yeah. Yeah, so when I was a teenager or whatever, a friend of mine like introduced me to you know, American serial killers and all these stories, and it's like real life horror. It's like, if you like horror movies or are curious in I don't know, the dark side of things in any way, it's like a real life story of that. And I became ever so fascinated, like, by learning about the horrors that humans can do. I have this belief that we're all capable of, like, the worst that people can be, but like not in like a you can turn around and do a dharma type thing, like as in from birth to death. Like, that trajectory has perhaps some limitations imposed by genetics and environment and whatnot, but that, you know, if the environment is a particular way or the genetics are a particular way, any of us could be capable of doing horrible things. That is the way I look at those things. So I'm kind of like fascinated by it because, you know, obviously I'm repelled by it, but I kind of see it as like something that anyone is capable of. Lucaro says, no, wrong setting, X. What's the wrong setting? This. It's just not powered yet. Let's get some water in my belly. Ted Bundy, question marks, is no hack. I mean, all of the big names, you know, the ones that racked up numbers, if we want to sort of whittle people down to just being a statistic. Like, I learned about a lot of them, and then eventually you kind of move on to other stuff and your interests take you elsewhere, and for a long, long time I've resisted going back into that area. Wick says, yeah, but they also romanticize them as well. An evil genius, they say, for all of them. Like, sure, but I don't think we should praise serial killers. I didn't think of them in that way. For me, it was like an interesting look into psychology. Like, why do these people do this? Why do they think this way? Because it's so inherently wrong to most of us. Like, to me, I guess it sparks off a lot of like philosophical ways of looking at thinking about things. I in no way liked these people in any way or had like any I don't know, like it was never positive. They were always just like in one way, like, they're monsters, and that's a very like emotional reaction to have, and then in another way it's like a psychological look at like, but why do they end up doing these things? Why are they this way? And how did they get away with it? Yeah, Becca says John Wayne Gacy managed to get away with it for so long. That's another thing, like the incompetency. And is it me, or have we seen like a reduction in these stories? It feels like when you go back in the past, there's like more of these, and I think it's because the general nature of like what we've been talking about with like technology progressing and whatnot, that policing has gotten better to some extent or to some measures over time, and so it's harder to get away with these things now. The top two rows of repeaters don't have the same timing on every slice because of the observers delaying the rail part. Oh, okay, thank you, Cybot. If we hop over here, yeah. Oh, are we not? Oh, I see. Yeah, delay 2, delay 1. I guess we'll see that when it gets powered, though, right? Like, we'll get the highlights to point out the errors eventually. I am waffling, but I am focusing on what I'm doing too, right? So we'll get there. So anyway, I was interested in this stuff when I was a kid. Yeah, I always refer to like my youth as being a kid, just because I don't know, just naive or whatever, but. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer was the one who, out of all of them. Now, I want to like get my words right here, because I know sympathy isn't quite the word, but maybe there's just some level of compassion for the fact that most of these stories end up with, a pretty rotten person, a rotten personality, and you just ultimately despise them on some level, right? They're heinous or whatever, but he, of all, seemed to express some genuine, like, sorrow, some actual remorse for what he had done. Not just lip service, but it seemed quite genuine the way he would talk about what he had done and that he knew it was terrible and bad. And that was very interesting because you didn't see that a lot. Sometimes these people would like say those things, but it just seemed like a load of malarkey to like try and, I don't know, get a reduced sentence or something like that. He seemed like legitimately remorseful of the things that he had done, and he had done some of the worst things too. And then when you learn about his personality and how odd he felt and didn't fit in with society around him, it just opens up a whole bunch of philosophical and questions about many different things. And so I always found him to be like a very interesting character among them. And then I like, you know, I lost interest in that stuff. I mean, it's always been like a curiosity to me, but it's also like a dark place to go, and at some point like you start to lose the energy for it somewhat. And so I stopped looking into that stuff, and I just kind of decided like you know, probably better off not looking at this kind of stuff anymore because it is dark and depressing and whatnot. And then I remember there was that show Dexter, and I really didn't like that show, having never watched it, purely because like it all of a sudden became like really big and popular, and I don't know, there's this like tendency to resist things when they become in the mainstream conscious. I don't know why it is. It's like something that I've kind of dropped these days. Like there's no harm in like the masses of people enjoying a particular thing, but back then it was like, for me it was like, no, serial killers are dark. Like you can't just turn this into a TV show like this, is sort of what I was thinking. I'm not saying that's the right way to think about it or not, but that's why I didn't like that show and didn't want to watch it. So I never watched the Dexter show because I just kind of thought like, I don't know, like how can you make a show out of this? Like how can you turn it into a drama? It's like, people are like, this stuff is real, it happens, it's horrible. And then I saw on Netflix that they had done a Dharma one, right? And because I guess it was the one story, like if they had done the same thing for Bundy or someone, I probably wouldn't have paid any attention. But because it was for Dharma, it kind of reminded me of how more curious I was about like who he was. Which way is this thing supposed to face? Is it just straight down? No. South. There's a direction I haven't picked yet. North. So it's got a point into the composter. Interesting. Didn't think it would be that. Yeah, because he was like the more curious one, I guess, with the whole like what seemed like genuine empathy for like understanding how horrible what he had done, like genuine remorse. I thought I'd start watching it, and you know what? Like, it's just totally sucked me back into how fascinating that whole story is and how dark it is, and like, oh man, it like gives you absolute chills watching that show. And it feels like the tone, I don't know, like I was tuning in expecting like this could be awful, like taking on such a sensitive topic, and like how they were going to show the things on camera as well. It was all just like, this is going to be like awful if they don't get the tone right. But I feel like they have. I feel like they've got the tone right and they've made a gripping show out of it. And this ties back into what I was talking about earlier. Again, it's like the access to information and how it changes. The way that I learned about Dharma and all the other American serial killers was like through obscure 90s websites, you know, web pages that someone painstakingly wrote about this individual or that individual, and like it was some real work to like find material and read it. And then occasionally you might find about some like TV documentary that was made or some news coverage of it, right? But like there wasn't YouTube. You couldn't just go look it up. You had to like find some DVD documentary or something like that to learn more about them. And again, it's like it's totally shifted. Now you can learn about the Jeffrey Dahmer story through this drama documentary that's like like essentially realistic. Like it's really trying to put you in the middle of the story and what he's going through and what he's doing. And it's incredibly dark and just such a strange thing that like that's what that becomes now. You know, it like I'm cool with it, like you know, to some extent, like going with the times and how things change. But it reminds me of how, I don't know, like some of you might remember the satanic hysteria in is it the 80s? Of like heavy metal music, supposedly, you know, getting kids to do terrible things and all of this. And it's like, then to the older generation, the evil and the Satan in heavy metal music was really scary. And then for me growing up, it was like cheesy and fun, sort of on the nose, what do they call it, tongue-in-cheek sort of humor to some extent. So like now I'm seeing a story that I thought was heinous and crazy now being like told in a very digestible, entertaining series on Netflix. And it's like that same thing. It's like, if I go back and think historically, oh, what was the big scare back then? Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's kind of like, all right, so now people can be entertained in this way by this Jeffrey Dahmer story. Is that good for society or bad? I'm not sure. I think in general people are good and we head in a good direction overall, but it just, along the way, there's these moments that just feel a little bit hairy. So like, what would be the next extension of that? Well, we're all on this new frontier talking about virtual reality and the metaverse. There's been bits of it here and there, like Second Life and attempts to make virtual reality a thing in the past that didn't work, but now we got Oculus Rift and headsets and, you know, movies. You'll notice there's going to be a lot of gaming movies coming out in this year and the next few. Gaming has become so big that now the movie industry is using its IP to create movies. And with virtual reality becoming a thing, everyone's always, at some point or another, discussed, you know, the whole virtual reality movies. Can we make movies where you're actually in it at some point in time? Well, what if, like, one day the Jeffrey Dahmer story is a virtual reality experience? Like, what the heck? Like, could it go somewhere like that? You know? And then if I was out on the street holding a sign, because no one's out on the street in the future, they're all indoors connected to their virtual realities. You know, being an old boomer going, oh, back in my day, we used to watch documentaries about this. The virtual reality will ruin these young kids' minds. You know? But, like, again, it's like, it's a possibility. It's a possibility that virtual reality movies will be a thing and that someone will end up making that Jeffrey Dahmer story into a virtual reality experience. That just is so bizarre to me. Because, again, the point, like, I'm making an extreme out of the point that it was, like, once, like, a horror story you heard on the news, then you could go online and learn more about the details of it, and then, you know, then YouTube comes along and you can just watch endless videos and documentaries going deep into it, and now we got, like, this show that's putting you in the heart of it, trying to make it all realistic and walk you through all of it, and, like, we can see the next extension of this coming along. So it might sound like I'm being a bit crazy, but, And I'm not. I do think that we'll navigate these things. It'll be rocky, but we'll figure them out. Is my, like, gut instinct. But it's kind of crazy. Movie theaters will be a thing of the past, says Rebellion Ranger. They've said that many times. They said that with VHS. They said it with DVD. They've said it with streaming movies online, right? The theaters are still there. To be fair, they could go the way of the past. I mean, Blockbuster did, right? Let's go look at that. Oh yeah, we might have some diagnostics to do. I think we're done with our time-lapse, though. Oh my god, I never logged in! Oh well, I don't care. Never logged in! The whole time I'm like, yeah, we're doing this time-lapse, I'm on top of it, and it's like, oh, actually, no. No, you didn't log in. Oh, I was going to use a little clip for a time-lapse, oh well. Oh well. Scaffolding, that's what I needed. That's actually what I needed. What would YouTube be like in the future when VR in the meta? Will there be a VR YouTuber? Well, there's already, what are we calling them? VTubers. Aha. That's interesting. Right, then the things above are potentially... I mean, they're hoppers, though, so I'm not really sure. Did I miss that on the row below down here, too? No, it doesn't seem so. But then we got, like... Okay, so when I click on these, it seems to, like, update them and solve that. That's something I've noticed. So let's go and check that around a couple of other places. So there's VTubers, you know, but what I remember Google Stadia sort of promised this, and then that thing's gone away. But Google Stadia at one point promised that you could be playing a game on YouTube, and the save state of the game can be linked to the moment in the video. This is all like very, you know, reasonable sounding stuff, really, if you think about it. And that players could then pick up their Stadia controller and jump into the game at that same point that you were watching it. Maybe something like this could happen with Hermitcraft, right? Like, you can jump in and play on the Hermitcraft server as is. Judno, thank you ever so much for your Prime subscription. Appreciate it, my dude. Thank you for supporting the channel. Peeps, it is September. You get 30% off subs this month. And you can use your Amazon Prime subscription to subscribe to someone on Twitch if you wish to do so. Cybot says, I think it's done now. So do I. I think it's done too. I'm going to probably put some signs on the front bit. Now, what were we talking about? Like, the link between virtual reality and, I don't know, streamers and whatnot. I mean, it's a case of, like, it already happens that people put up servers and that they play with their audience live, right? But just think of that becoming more streamlined, like the Stadia controller experience of, like, picking up the controller and jumping in, because you're already looking at a screen, right? And the idea is that they'll stream the game to you, so you don't need all this fancy hardware. But that has, unfortunately, not manifested as they described. And we got some sub-bombs coming in! Becca and Hailey Bailey, thank you so much for gifting subs. Greatly appreciate it. Let me throw up ye old animation. Makier, Astray, Gush Punka, Joe Bidner, Vampire Husky, Smuggles, FX Oons, Crimson Drake, Jormanga Dar, IX, Cosmic Dragon Eternus. I'm definitely butchering some of these names. Be sure to say thanks in the chat for those gifted subs. We also got Gecko Minnow here with the Prime, and Curls of Doom is gifting subs too. Goodness me, more gifted subs, thank you so much. Ez526181, The Viking Dane, Loyal Noah, Rock and Lull, Bukanasha. Be sure to say thanks in the chat for those gifted subs. Do you know what I think I need to do right now? I think I need to sit down. I need to actually go to the loo again, right? And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. I haven't drunk a lot of water. I went like less than an hour ago. Like, what's going on with me? And I've noticed that sometimes when I sit down, I don't know, it just like suppresses the need to go. Curl says coffee will do that to you. I've heard that over and over again. That coffee and tea make you go to the toilet. I don't actually experience that. Like right now it might seem like I need to, but it tends to be when I stream and just sit at the computer at like this time of day. I don't know. I end up needing to go, but otherwise, like, I drink a lot of tea and I notice it doesn't quite work like that for me. Right, now that we built this, what else were we supposed to do? I mean, I gotta label it. Okay, let's focus. I gotta label it. I've said that several times. Let's give it a spruce sign, eh? Crafting bench. Don't mind if I do. Actually, do you know what? I am gonna lip to the loo again. Sitting down didn't help at all. Peeps, I will BRBs. Don't go anywhere. I think I'm just going to go back to standing again. Now I've been to the toilet. Let's adjust this desk. I said to my audience while the Be Right Be Back screen was on. Oh, X you derp. No, I'm leaving it up. You're not seeing what I'm doing in Minecraft anymore. That's because I'm not doing anything in Minecraft anymore. Haley Bailey, thank you for the cheers and the biddies. Greatly appreciated. Hope you've enjoyed today's stream. It's been a waffle stream, which I've really enjoyed. Some things on the mind, right? Expressed, vented. Thank you for listening. Hope it brought you some value or entertainment. Yeah, again, I think I'm jumping the gun a little bit here. We got to make those signs. Bam. And then we're pretty much here. Kind of need an actual way, like, from the back here. I don't have a way from the back to the front, and I'm not sure which blocks I actually want to break or not. Oh yeah, and I did have some, like, vague ideas of maybe, like, replacing some of these blocks with more of the baked bean stuff, but I don't know. Maybe we're putting some of that weathered stuff back here. Oh, is it? I think it might have changed colour because... Hey, I've got an idea. Huh. That'll be my way. I think it changed colour because I never waxed it. Now I look at it and I kind of look at it like it should just stay that way. I don't know why, just a little bit of that in there. So we could do the same thing on that side. Possibly at the top. And then it's not fully encased. But I do want to keep the baked bean thing going on. I don't think that technically needs to be there. That space might. But yeah, there might be the opportunity to just throw in a few more things. Like I wanna close up all the gaps, but then you got redstone back here. So I think the way to do it is probably a mixture of both. But let's do this first. So we want input. Empty shulker boxes. And then at that level... I'm wondering though, could these glass blocks change? No, not at the bottom. We could change them to... Oh, you know what? If we change them to stair blocks here, like we can make this a lot more enclosed. Okay, so I'm thinking... I like this bit here. Maybe that's the only place it'll be. Alright, I think we're going to have to embrace the oxidized copper look. Why not use acacia signs that fit colorways? That's a great suggestion, actually. I wasn't really thinking about the color. I was just like, oh, I'll pick spruce then. I'll pick the old sprucey. Spruce Willish. Jeez, I don't know what I'm talking like this. I don't even know. Oh yeah, we've got to get rid of all that stone at some point. Well, actually, it can stay there until we put a shulker box in, technically. Yeah, right, so I need to go find... I don't know. That stone cutter block. This is not where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm just in water all of a sudden. Hey! I want out. I need to make like a stack of stone cutters, because I just always seem to have like one or none. Yeah, like there's an empty space in there. Oh, do you know what? I can actually make quite a few. Because there's loads of stone. What's this chest? Oh, that's what goes over to the next system, I'm pretty sure. Which, at the back of my mind, I thought we might get to do a little bit of... Wait, I need more than 2 stacks. What am I about? But no. Hey OX, hope you're having a great day today. I am, thanks for asking. Looking forward to pretty much having most of the rest of the day be kind of like just, I don't know, air quotes, off time or downtime or whatever. Like, got a few little jobs to do here and there, but not doing anything major. And then tomorrow evening, got some plans. So all good over here. And then plans to see friends Sunday as well, actually. It's kind of nice to have a few things lined up. So input and shulker boxes. I guess the schematic will tell us. I'm trying to think. Don't forget. But it's all good. So then we'll let that stuff oxidize. And then it'll go all the way to that height. So it'll match the other side. So here is where we want stairs, because that allows us to still open the chest, right? Then we can have full blocks again. I actually think... we can have full blocks again at the... Hang on, let me just place... Oops. That and that again here. I could put in a little extra. Yeah, I'm just not entirely sure what to put at the back here. Like, the baked bean stuff or the green stuff. Anyway, it's going to be just 2 blocks and maybe a slab on top. I think I'll go put the slab on and then let it oxidize and just, you know, worry about it another time. 8 slabs? 1 block? Do that math. Plans are nice, is one I won't call. Yeah, it gives you something to look forward to, right? Oh, actually, I needed to be back there. Dang it. Okay, I'll put that there. That'll be the end of me putting blocks around this thing. Cha-cha wood was the idea for the signs, right? Boop. Do we have that cha-cha? We do. One copper equals 4 cut copper equals 8 cut copper slabs. Why does 1 copper equal 4? Oh, just Minecraft logic, isn't it? Just Minecraft logic. X, why aren't you eating bone meal anymore? Because I only eat gigapies, because I'm a good citizen. Me. Input. Let's just put boxes. Alright, and then let's see what it looks like without this, because... Yeah, it's sort of like a bit open, isn't it? It's a bit... And then you see the andesite because of that. See, I could actually just put blocks at the front level, all the way... Oh, yeah, I could. Huh! I didn't see that before. Right, I should have really packed up my blocks and moved them to where I am a moment ago. So we'll do that now. Like, I'm done with the glass. Those things can go in there. Hey, I just saw something. Look, the abyss! Can you see the abyss on the side? Look at that abyss! That's not stone, that's just abyss. Good old abyss! Hanging out of us, eh? Being good company. Haunting my dreams. What? Right, let's pick this one up. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, that stuff. Abysmal, says Bear. That's my jokes right there in a nutshell. Abysmal. You still have the shulker tabs, FYI, says Rock and Lol. No, I don't. I don't have the shulker tabs. Don't try and trick me. I'm not falling for these shenanigans. Yeah, so I reckon we'll probably actually end up just scraping these. See, the thing is, when we use this, there are times when we will see those blocks, right? So then all of a sudden that green copper becomes relevant again. I'll leave it, and then I don't know. I'll see how I feel about it, right? Like, do I like it? Do I not? Anyway, that will be for boxes. Oh, let's put it on the bottom line since it's sort of closer to you, the player, reading it. boxes. I don't like that. Don't like it. The open part is the shulker box unloader, so it might be interesting to keep it visible. I'm all for an animated base, but I want to change those blocks, and I don't want to go through the hassle of getting this wrong, right? But it might not be so bad. Let's go have a look. It's also going to be tricky to tell which ones they are. Like, okay, gonna have to break 1, break 2, 3, okay, 4. Can actually see it's those 3 there. So there is a comparator, a piece of redstone. Right, comparator and redstone, that's all we've got to remember then. Ah! This is not a very helpful place. Right. Take that. And that. Now I'm trapped again. Hey, we got a noise in the ear. It's Monkey Boy Kev here with the Prime. Thank you so much, Monkey Boy Kev. Love the name. Appreciate you using the Amazon Prime on me, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. Now, if I do it from memory, I think that was it. If we do this, yep, you'll see it's just the blocks that are incorrect. So all of that's good. And then we just got to replace these over here. Even one there. I don't think that was there before, so success. Success is all around. Okay then. So now we can see into that space and it's all flush. Cool. I may or may not change some things around here. I don't know. But it looks good. And it'll be ready for a test run real soon, peeps. But for now, what I need you to do is hit the follow button. And if you haven't, go visit linktree.xisumavoid.co. That is the place to find all of the other things that I do. Like we were talking about my music earlier in the stream. You can find that over there. You can find my second channel for the VODs. Guitar videos, maybe some other stuff you didn't know about. It's all there. Nausea, thank you ever so much for the 4 months, and Chaos Be Epic, thank you for the Prime subscription. Greatly appreciated, peeps, but that is all that I have time for today. So I will go look for someone to raid, and I'll thank y'all for subscribing, resubscribing, donating, and cheering. As always, I appreciate the support. Thanks to all the peeps gifting subs, the mods, the patrons, y'all are appreciated. And I'll be seeing you soon in another stream. Since I don't really know anyone streaming right now, we'll go pick a random channel. Going all the way down into the sub-50s. And I got a channel for you. Alright. Just raiding a random channel. And there we go. Sending you over to It's Marumi. Anyway, thank you everyone. Take care.